Hello and welcome back. On today's show, we're going to start out by snacking on rice done twice. After that, Mark's going to be sharing a song with us. And then I want to talk about your voice and what your voice says about your personality. And of course, we're going to go right back into Paranormal Corner, so stick around because it's coming right up.
And welcome back to Snack Little Talk Little. I'm Mark.
And I'm Gianna, bringing the rice.
Rice done twice.
Yeah.
That almost sounds dirty.
Well, okay.
Is it dirty rice done twice?
It's not dirty rice,
okay.
No. No, so have you ever had sticky rice? It's like mango
Yes.
sticky rice. Okay,
Ooh.
so it's a Thai thing.
Ooh.
What I did is I took spring rolls and I made mango sticky rice in a spring roll.
Wow.
And then I made a little dipping sauce with honey and orange, like fresh squeezed orange. So I didn't want to waste the orange, so I took the slices and
This
added.
looks fantastic.
Well, I hope it tastes as good as it looks.
I got to give you good grades on your presentation. I usually
Thank
just bring
you.
in my old Corel ware or my I didn't know what the plastic plates that look like paper plates, but they're not. But man, you fancy it up every time. I feel like I'm going to a fancy restaurant.
Well, you're going to like, too, what you see over here to drink.
Wow.
Horchata.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And you're going to stir it because this is a mix. You and I actually got this. Well, you were with me when I got it at that international food store.
Okay.
They had a horchata mix. I zhuzhed it as I do.
Janitized it.
Yeah. So there's a little something else there. You know, I added some cinnamon over the top and I also blended it with some ice to make it nice and cold and a little bit of milk just to make it richer and better rather than just mixing it with water. But
so you didn't use any of the rice water in the horchata?
No, this is like pre-made horchata.
Because for those who don't know,
mix.
horchata is a rice water.
Yeah, and I have seen, how to make it. It seems easy enough.
Okay, so this what did you call this? This is a sticky rice.
It's a mango sticky rice.
Okay.
In a spring roll.
Okay, the spring roll
is rice paper.
Shell. Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a plastic something.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. So have you not had a spring roll before?
They're
basically like this.
Yeah, but I usually don't use my hands on spring rolls, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Or do I? I don't know. I'll have to check. Well, go ahead and start before me.
Mm-hmm.
I was just setting up for me to take the big bite, and Janet's already digging in.
Go.
What do you think, Jana, of your creation?
Well, it's sticky. So the rice definitely is sticky.
It is.
The mango, I would like for it to be fresh.
Okay.
But the way I prep this, you put it in the spring roll and you air fry it for a couple of minutes because you want to have all the flavors meld and blend together. And so it's
this is
sticky.
interesting. It's sticky rice. There's only a little bit of mango though. I would like more mango in it.
Well, maybe the one you're eating doesn't have very much because I know some had a little more than others. So I don't know, or maybe it all got like pooled at one side or something. I don't know. I'm gonna try another bite here.
All right. Well, I'm putting mine in the dipping sauce that you made. I'm gonna get ready for another bite. But it's funny. You can't just take a small bite and then talk because it's sticky rice, and you really have to chew through it.
Okay, you go.
So
I would definitely.
It smells great. I mean, you have a couple of orange slices here. And oranges are great. I mean, we live in a citrus area, and it's always great to have oranges. Yep. And just the smell.
I would definitely like
great.
This to. Well, I agree with you. I would like it to have more mango. But it just doesn't. And so I made these yesterday, and then just figured, okay. And then what I'll do, so what I found when I was experimenting with the recipe is so there's one that I tried and made it and ate it right away, and it was too wet.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, this is going to be good because then it can sit for a while and the juices and everything will blend.
Right.
But I'm finding then it's just too sticky. It's a mouthful.
The juices aren't just going through the rice at all?
Well, I mean, no, right. Well,
the
did.
The dipping sauce tastes really good.
Well, it's necessary. So that's just orange juice, like fresh orange and honey. And yeah, you need it because it wakes it back up a little bit. But I I would say that this is the kind of thing that you want to eat it when it's fresh. Because after sitting for a day, even though I warmed it up a little bit, I don't know. There's going to have to be there's a happy hour. When I ate it and it was completely fresh, it was still too wet. But I think probably if you made this and then let it sit for, I don't know, 30 minutes or whatever.
Well, now you said warm it up. These don't feel warm to me. They feel room temperature.
Well, but you don't want them to be hot either.
No.
So you just want them to be not refrigerated, cold.
Okay. The way you said warm, I was thinking, well, I didn't know if that's how you wanted it to be warm, because these just feel room temperature.
Yeah. We're
eating with our hands, which we've discussed before, is a great way to have a snack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
Less cleanup. Wait, what? What is happening? Is it a cat hair in yours?
Blowout. A little bit of a blowout. By the way. Oh, So normally with the mango sticky rice, it's just rice, coconut milk, and mango.
Right.
Maybe a little bit of vanilla depending on who makes it. I also added cinnamon and orange zest. So this is why I felt okay with making an orange honey sauce for dipping.
Right.
So the flavors are okay, but yeah, I just keep coming back to this is the kind of thing that you got to eat right away, because it seems evident. So maybe I could have steamed these, and maybe it would loosen the rice paper again or something. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go in for some horchata.
You're calling this rice paper.
Yeah.
Is that the proper name?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I grew up, rice paper melted when it touched your tongue. It surrounded candy. We used to get these Japanese candies in the store.
Mm-hmm.
And they were covered in regular waxy paper, like some candies come wrapped in. But the inner wrapper was rice paper, and it looked like cellophane. And it was just individual little bits. Looked like cellophane, but you touch it with your tongue, and it would just melt.
Yeah, this is that, but it's a lot thicker. This version of it is thicker, and you have to get it wet so that it's pliable before you can wrap it. Otherwise, it'll just break.
That's for thicker and getting it wet.
Okay. By the way, you got to stir it and try that horchata. That is the bomb.
All right. Well, I got to get.
.com.
I got to get.
So I took a picture, by the way, you guys, in case you don't feel like making your own horchata and you don't want to go to a restaurant and, get some horchata at a Mexican restaurant. I took a picture of this stuff and wow. So I also tried this and I found it to be bland and boring by just adding some water to it. That's why I did the horchata mix. Okay. And so that's why I decided, okay, we can do better than this.
And I see. So you tried just the mix alone.
Well, I tried it the way they said to do it. To take it and add some water. And it was like, this is overly sweet and just not all that. So now.
Hold on. I got to get.
It's fantastic. Very good. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Now I got to stir the horchata.
Yeah, mix. Because the rice goop tends to want to separate. So, and I blended it. But yeah, you kind of got to stir it every now and then. But oh yeah, that hits the spot.
It's almost like a horchata smoothie.
A little bit. I suppose so. Because yeah, I did blend some ice with it. I wanted it to be nice and
It is nice and cold.
Yeah.
This would be a good little summer afternoon.
Yeah.
Meal thing, snack, meal. And it's just good. I just want to say something so Jana will start talking so I can drink some more.
Okay, go ahead and have the horchata. So anyway, y'all, it's you know what? If you decide that you want to try making the mango sticky rice and have it in something that's like a little portable, it's a utensil and everything all in one because you can just hold it in your hand and go. I would say do it, but you're going to want to do it and eat it right away because otherwise the rice paper solidifies and it gets a little bit harder to chew. So going forward, because I didn't have a recipe for this, I just thought it
kind of like a gummy bear texture to it.
I thought it seemed like a good idea. And it was when it was fresh, but it was still a little too wet because of the mango. So somewhere in there, about 30 minutes probably after you make it, it's probably the perfect time to have it. And possibly maybe making these ahead of time and then steaming them could have woken the rice paper back up.
So don't let your mango get too wet.
Mamas, don't let your mangoes
Get too wet.
All right, moving on. What you got for me?
All right, now I got an artist, a musical. I got a song that we'll eventually get to, but I have some prep for this. I don't know if you know this artist or not. It's a YouTube celebrity, I would guess. But anyways, while I play a little bit of music that they play, this is you're going to recognize the song right away. I think the backing track of this is maybe a karaoke version, hopefully.
Okay.
But I'll play a little bit of it, and I want to introduce you to music that I've been listening to sometimes. Mm-hmm. So let's see if I can get this going here. I think right away you recognize the song and the artist, the original artist.
Yes.
So it's just a little opening bit, and here comes the YouTuber.
So a saxophone player.
But it's someone that you know them, but you don't know them. And you probably have never seen them, but you know of their existence.
Interesting. Okay.
Their motto is, believe in yourself, even when no one else does.
Do I know them for their saxophone playing?
Nope.
Okay.
They are legendary.
Love take me away from you. Ain't nothing that 100 men or more cannot do.
All right, I'm going to stop this because it's getting a little more of the singing stuff. Okay, now here's another song that they have done, and here's this.
It's somebody legendary.
Again. They're eclectic in their selection. Give you a little more time once you hear it.
Okay.
See if you can guess, and if you can't, I got to show you the video because you'll know right away.
Okay.
You'll know exactly who this is.
And again with the saxophone. So they don't change it up in that way.
Okay, now I'm going to let you see who it is.
That didn't help. Let's see.
Can you see?
Yes. Bigfoot?
Yes.
Okay.
It is Sasquatch.
Oh, brother. So you guys can't see this, but I put my glasses on and that didn't help. So I took my glasses off. I kept getting closer thinking I must be missing something here because this just looks like a really big hairy person.
Now, hopefully a lot of you have seen Sasquatch. If you have not, he has a YouTube channel, Sasquatch, Saxsquatch.
And you're watching this.
It is a guy.
You're spending
Look how
time
beautiful it
watching
is.
this. Well, it is beautiful. Beautiful background.
Okay, now let me. I'm going to stop this. This is obviously Sweet Home Alabama. I'm going to go back to the Toto Africa, which we started with. I'm going to go back to that. Look at the. He's in the forest.
Yeah.
Look how beautiful this is. I mean, he's in the Pacific Northwest. Obviously, he's up there in his forest thing. He's got his DJ booth with his name on it.
He's got a gimmick that apparently is
Plays
working
his stuff,
for him,
and I'm not sure how many videos he has, but this Toto Africa has 48,000 views.
Wow.
And let me see, the Sweet Home Alabama one has, well, only 27,000 views on that particular one. But anyway, so I see his stuff often. I think a friend of mine who I think is a fan of the show turned me on to it just because he started posting it on his Facebook line, and it just cracks me up. It's a guy in a Bigfoot costume with a bandana and shades, reflective sunglasses, playing
I
playing
wonder.
the
Don't you wonder
melody
how
to
something
these
like that
songs.
comes about?
I
If he's
just
like,
crack
how am I
up.
going to get my stuff out there so people can hear me?
Right. And the question is, where is it going to go?
Yeah.
Well, here's where it went, and this is why I'm bringing the entire segment
Oh,
here, because it
okay.
did actually go somewhere.
Went somewhere. Okay.
I'm hiding the screen from you
Okay.
on this one.
All right.
And here's another song that he did.
You know, this thing sounds so good, but
He participated in. Let's put it this
need
way.
to find some magic.
Now, I'm going to start.
She only comes out at night, lean and hungry type. Nothing is new, I've seen her here before. Watching and waiting, baby. She's sitting with you, but her eyes are on the
Check out the video.
Wow.
The video
so-
is fantastic. It's got an animated version of him. He's dancing. It's very mod, very 70s.
gonna chew you up.
Is that John Hall Oat guy?
That is
John.
That is John Oates.
Oates.
I don't know what the story is, and I did not do the background on it. But here it is. John Oates of Hall & Oates is singing this with Sasquatch together. They aren't in different studios and all
Right,
that. It's
right.
not special effects. They're actually...
I wouldn't if I were you.
Huh.
I mean,
Well, I know.
So how did that come about?
this just cracks me up.
She's
It just...
remember.
Here's a guy that dresses up as Bigfoot, does this Sasquatch thing for I don't know how many years.
Right.
I don't know how it came about, but here he is. Can you imagine? You're the saxophone guy who plays, we'll say, a decent saxophone,
That sounds all right. Yeah.
and then you end up, yeah, I'm in a music video with John Oates doing Man Eater and a new revised version of it. How cool is that?
Pretty cool. So I mean, once again, it makes you wonder who the heck is this?
Right. I don't even want to know. I just want to think it's some guy that just started a YouTube channel to do this stuff. I don't think it's anyone famous. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so then he looks like he's pretty big.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, John Oates
he's
is
Bigfoot.
little. Well, but I mean, you know,
Bigfoot.
you could put on a Bigfoot costume and not necessarily be big. But I think John Oates is little too. So that lends itself to the whole look.
So there you go. That is the new version of Man Eater featuring John Oates.
Until you said that it was a version of Man Eater, I didn't even, I mean, that's like a far
Right.
left turn.
It is. It is a whole different version,
Yeah.
redone. But John Oates is involved, so, you know, he's the original guy with it. So anyway, I just thought that was fantastic, and I wanted to
Trippy.
share that with
Thank
you.
you.
And I will have links to that on our website. So be sure to go to,
With John
on
Hall
our Facebook,
Oates.
I should say. Yeah, John Hall Oates. So be sure to go to our Facebook. You can also see we put pictures and sometimes comments and stuff on Instagram and Twitter, both of those, and Facebook, all three of them, at Snack a Little.
Yep, you can also give us a call on our dedicated listener line. The number is 909
572-0278. Leave
Give
us a message there.
call. Well, you want to talk about personality traits and whether or not the tone or timbre of your voice can predict what your personality might be like.
Are you reading the slow teleprompter?
No.
So really, they're saying that the tone of your voice can tell what your personality
Voice characteristics, yep, can
Interesting.
say something about who you are.
is. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see what you got.
All right. A new study reveals a link between vocal characteristics and individual personality traits. Those with deeper voices were more dominant, extroverted, and tend to rank higher in sociosexuality. Researchers found no difference between men and women where that's concerned.
Interesting.
Everyone has at some point been charmed by the sound of a person's voice, but can we believe our ears? What can a voice reveal about our character? So there's an international research team. It was led by the University of Göttingen, and it's shown. Yeah,
is that Germany?
Looks like it. Yeah, Gottingen.
Yeah, but everything spoken in German sounds angry.
Well, to our German listeners, if I've just destroyed how that's pronounced, I apologize. You can call into our listener line and correct me. It has shown that people seem to express at least some aspects of their personality with their voice. The researchers...
Well, that I agree with. Some aspects of your personality can be projected through your voice. Sorry, I'm just cutting in.
I think so. So it's interesting because, I mean, and I will see, but like, let's say they say, I have heard this before. Men, it was saying men with a deeper voice tend to be more likely to cheat. And that seems really weird to me that you could just go by the tone of a voice and say that, that more likely than not, those are the ones going to cheat more often. That's just weird to me. A tone of a voice would determine that.
That doesn't make any sense at all to me.
Researchers discovered that a lower pitched voice is associated with individuals who are more dominant, extroverted, and higher in sociosexuality, more interested, and in parentheses, it says to define that, more interested in casual sex. The findings were true for women as well as men. The results were published in the Journal of Research of Personality, in case any of you want to look that up. Researchers analyzed data from over 2,000 participants and included information from 4 different countries. Participants filled in questionnaires about themselves to measure personality and provide recordings of their voice so that the pitch could be measured using a computer program. This is the first time that an objective digital measure of voice pitch has been used in a study of this kind, rather than subjective ratings on how high or deep a voice might sound. The researchers measured sociosexuality by collecting responses about sexual behavior, attitudes, and desire. They also collected data to provide ratings of dominance and other character traits such as neuroticism, extroversion, openness to experience, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. There's a lot of nesses there. The number of participants helped to confirm the robustness of the findings. The study involves the largest number to date compared to similar research in this theme. Researchers found that people with lower pitched voices were more dominant. We're saying the same thing again. This is the third time. They're extroverted and they're higher in sociosexuality. However, the relationship between voice pitch and other personality traits such as agreeableness, neuroticism, conscientiousness, or openness seems less clear. It's possible that these traits are not expressed in the pitch of voices. Is that possible? If it's not clear, that maybe it doesn't. Oh.
Who wrote this article?
Researchers found no difference between men and women when it comes to any of that.
Right. And they said that again in the article already. Did. Wow, this is a...
just to be clear.
I'm like, this person needs to take 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes?
This is from Neuroscience News.
Okay.
People's voices can make a huge and immediate impression on us, explains Dr. Julia Stern, at the University of Göttingen's Biological Personality Psychology Group. Even if we just hear someone's voice without any visual clues, for instance on the phone, we know pretty soon whether we're talking to a man, a woman, a child, or an older person.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. We can pick up on whether the person sounds interested, friendly, sad, nervous, or whether they have an attractive voice. Right. We also start to make assumptions about trust and dominance. This led Stern to question whether these assumptions were justified. The first step was to investigate whether voices are indeed related to people's personality, and our results suggest that people do seem to express some aspect of their personality with their voice.
Right. I can understand that.
Mm-hmm. This study was conducted as a, quote, registered report, which means it benefits from peer review from other researchers at very early stage and was accepted for publication independent of the results. It's one of the new indicators of quality being developed to make science more transparent and reliable. Okay, good to know. So research on links between people's personality traits and their voices is primarily focused on people's personality judgments about a target person based on a target person's vocal characteristics, particularly the voice pitch. However, It remains unclear whether individual differences in voices are linked to actual individual differences in personality traits, and thus whether vocal characteristics are indeed valid clues to personality.
Well, is it saying that there is a connection or not a connection? Because that last statement almost seems like it's saying there is not a connection.
It says that in the beginning that there is, but then it's saying that it's not sure. So here they investigate how personality traits of the 5-factor model of personality, sociosexuality and dominance, are related to measured fundamental frequency, voice and pitch, and formant frequencies, formant position. I don't know what that means.
I don't either. Do you have a picture of the formant position? I don't think I've tried that one.
For this purpose, we conducted a secondary data analysis of a large sample, 2,217 participants from 11 different independent data sets. Results suggest substantial negative relationships between voice pitch and self-reported sociosexuality, dominance, and extroversion in men and women. Thus, so we can get to the bottom of this.
Right.
Personality might be at least partly expressed in people's voice pitch. Evidence for an association between formant frequencies and self-reported personality traits is not compelling, but remains uncertain.
What?
We discuss.
I wonder about this article. If this article was translated through Google Translate from German, and it's just using, because it seems to be repeating itself over and over.
It sure does. You know what? So basically, the bottom line is it might tell you something about a person, and it might not. I think, personally, here's what I think.
Okay.
I don't think that listening that the tone or the pitch of somebody's voice tells you everything about their personality. But I think that if you are, for example, attracted to somebody because of their voice, it would be easier to fill in the blanks and see some of the things that you want to see, whether it's there or not. That's what I believe.
Right. You're projecting onto them based on,
and sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong.
Right.
50-50 chance.
It may, this article has said. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, certainly just as with our first impressions and stuff that we get from people when we see them visually, we get a lot of that stuff from voice even before we meet them, like if we're talking to them on the phone or something like that.
Yes.
I know for years I did car dealer commercials all over Southern California. I was the car dealer commercial king. And I did not ever, I won't say ever. I did some fill-in voiceover occasionally, but most of the time I dealt with other voice people.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were radio personalities, local Southern California radio personalities that I never met, but dealt with them back in the day through, email and stuff like that. Well, and let me tell you something, kids. Back before we could send audio files over the internet easily, I used to actually have to go to the radio stations and pick up a reel-to-reel tape. And one time, this one guy that I used had a fantastic deep voice. I mean, it was great. I used him a lot because his stuff was so good. And one time, now mind you, this is when I had my own little business doing this. And I was, image is everything. So I I know my clients assumed I lived in a bigger house and stuff like that than I did and all that stuff. And I like, the idea that they think I was a lot more successful than I was because it kept on coming back. And I was pretty successful. I
just so you guys know, he lives in a hobbit house. So he also has big hairy feet.
I was just going to say, is that something on my height? Because I'm not a tall guy. No. I'm not a tall man. Anyway, one time I went to the radio station to pick up the tape, which I did often.
Yeah.
And, no one ever questioned who I was or anything. I said, I'm just here to pick up a tape for me, And I get in the elevator, and there's a guy standing next to me, a short guy with big ears, and he says, "Oh, are you Mark picking up the tape?" And my first instinct was to say, "No, I'm just his flunky." Right? Because, I wanted it to seem like, he has delivery people going to the radio. He didn't have time to do this. He's a busy guy. Yeah. And I don't remember if in this instant, because I know in at least one other instance I said that. So, no, I'm just the lackey. But anyways, I may have said that, and I said,
funny, because you sound like Mark.
I said, no, but see, we never dealt with these people. Okay. I mean, I rarely talked to them. Anyway, but I said, no, I'm him. He goes, oh, I'm I won't say his name, but I'm him. I'm the guy in the voice. And I swear, the look on my face must have been, what the fuck?
Yeah, well.
Because I expected a big guy, because he had a big voice. This guy was shorter than me. And it was so funny. So I was telling this story to another voiceover guy that I know personally, had known personally for years. I was at his studio one time, and I said, man, you hear this guy's voice and all that? I said, I met him in the elevator, and I swear this guy doesn't even know him. He knew his voice, because when you're local, you know all the big voices on the air. And he goes, let me guess, short guy with big ears? I was like, yes! How'd you know? He goes, that's usually the case. And that just cracked me up. Yeah. So we're talking about, how your voice reveals your personality. Maybe it has something to do with your physicality. Although I've met, big guys with big voices too. But it was just so funny to meet a guy shorter than me, had big ears.
Well, I mean, definitely.
But a fantastic voice. I used him for a good lot of my stuff back in the day.
Well, so I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, a male or a female who has, we'll say, a deeper voice, do I find them to be more extroverted, more aggressive, and perhaps freer with their sexuality? And I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't
know about that. Yeah. I don't know that I have that perception, except, well, maybe the sultry Lauren Bacall voice type of thing.
But I mean, is it because that's how they are? That's how you hope they are?
She's got a low voice. I hope she sleeps around. I want to score tonight.
Right? I don't know.
Or she's got a low voice. She sleeps around. I don't want to take anything else home tonight.
I got to look up the University of Göttingen and find out. Because this is kind of weird. There doesn't seem to be anything about this that actually is conclusive about whether it does or it doesn't.
Nothing definitive.
And that actually makes sense to me. I don't know if you can. I mean, I would like that though. I would love it if it says, for example, people with a lower voice tend to cheat more, which I have heard that before. Or maybe they are tend to be abusers or whatever. I mean, if it's a tell and it's something that's actually going to protect you, and it's more often than not, but this doesn't show anything conclusive at all.
Right. I agree. It would be neat if we had something like that would help us. Maybe it sends up a yellow flag instead of a red flag or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. As you're reading that, I'm thinking, who do I know that this applies to? But then, like you said, that article itself doesn't even finish itself in that sense of saying whether it is or not. Because I mean, I've of course, working in the entertainment industry, most of the people I run into are somewhat gregarious or something like that. When I'm dealing with people, although there are plenty of people behind the scenes, and there certainly are some very quiet people behind the scenes. But I don't know, to say you can tell someone's personality based on their voice, I'm not sure that that's a thing that I could get on board with.
Well, so it says here, and this is not the same article, men and women with deeper voices are more likely to be unfaithful to their partners. So this is from it was published in Adaptive Human Behavior and Physiology. 3 separate databases, blah, blah, blah. They found that men and women with lower pitched voices are more likely to have cheated on a partner in the past.
Why is that?
So I'm just kind of
skimming. Why am I talking low?
I'm skimming through here. Lower voices are judged as more attractive in men and less attractive in women. Well, I mean, I think that depends on how low the voice. I mean, hi. Let's see, can I even do it?
I don't know.
Hi there, my name is China. Want to dance with me? I don't know. Noticeably, I mean, I don't know. I think a certain bit of a deepness in the timbre of a woman's voice can be very seductive. But I think it depends on how,
I know. I think in the past when I've had female friends or something that will have like a sore throat and something, and all of a sudden their voice gets lower, and it's like, you sound hot.
Yep. Lower voices are judged as more attractive in men and less attractive in women. Notably, voice pitch has also been found to reflect a person's real characteristics. Different study, but they're kind of saying the same thing here. Lower pitch is correlated with being stronger, taller, and having a higher level of testosterone.
See, again, this goes to the short guy with the big voice. That goes against that. And also, you know what? When I worked at the cable company, there was a guy that seemed to be a real nice guy. I've chatted with him a few times. Fantastic low voice. So much so we brought him into the studio one time. Actually, I wasn't a part of this, but the other people did. My manager brought him into the studio one time to try to get him to do voiceovers. But he was a guy, he wasn't comfortable doing it. So he had a fantastic voice. He just didn't know how to use it because that's not what he did. He worked in a different part of the cable company.
Gotcha.
He wasn't part of the production thing, and they tried to force him into it. And it was such a bad experience that he would never come in for me, even though I had nothing to do with that. But it was such a bad experience for him. I said, hey, why don't you come on over and we'll try to do a thing. No, I tried that. I tried that once. I'm never going to do that again. Kind of a thing. And I was just like, oh, what a shame because he had such great pipes. That's what we say in the business, by the way.
Great pipes.
Great pipes.
Okay.
Not those kind.
Says lower mean FO.
Well, F you.
I'm trying to figure out where it says what FO means. Whatever.
All right. So
basically, lower vocal attractiveness in turn has been shown in this study to predict a higher likelihood of self-reported infidelity. This same effect was not found for men. Authors note that women were able to accurately predict a male speaker's cheating behavior based on the pitch of his voice. This may suggest that fundamental frequency is a cue that women use to judge whether a man is likely to cheat or not in order to avoid the cost of being involved with an uninvested partner. Huh. And this is from this year.
Wow. So maybe in my singleness, I ought to start talking like this.
Okay.
Although I got to say, it's so funny. I'll be out shopping around somewhere and run into someone or, not run into someone that I know, but, you nearly bump into someone in an aisle and there is a conscious effort on my part afterwards, of course, where I go, oh, excuse me. I get in their way. I go, excuse me. And I think, excuse me, what was that? This goes on in my head. I swear this happens all the time where when I say, sorry. And I'm like, what was that? I should have said, excuse me. Or, sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to get that close to you.
Let me get all up in your hair. Take off that brassiere, my dear.
But see, now even the trope that we just did there, because of the music and stuff, we always go with the Barry White type of thing, which was the extremely low voice.
That's right.
And so maybe there's something to that. Well, certainly the sexiness of it, let's say.
Right.
But I don't know about the cheating. That seems...
I don't know. I mean...
These are two studies, though, that both suggest it.
It says masculinity may play a role in the link between lower voice pitch and infidelity among both men and women. Past research has also shown that masculinity is linked to a greater number of sexual partners.
Your voice is getting lower as we're talking about this.
It could be that masculine characteristics among either men or women, such as a lower voice, indicate a greater number of romantic partners, and through this, a higher likelihood of cheating. So maybe, okay, all right.
I agree with that. You understand what that was saying?
I do. If somebody who has a deeper voice tends to be found more attractive by more people.
Right. There's going to be more of a options.
And if that person's getting more, then also they might be more likely to be the one cheating because they're the one getting more.
What do you mean getting more?
Getting more. You know what I mean.
Welcome to Snack a Little, Getting More.
Getting it all.
Wow, it's not just more, it's all now.
Getting it
all. Wow.
So
everybody's getting it all.
So if you have a deeper voice, you might be an alley cat. Ladies, watch out. Guys, you too. If she sounds like she's been smoking since birth, she might be walking out on you. Is that what it's called?
Ladies.
Stepping out.
Stepping out.
Stepping out on you. That's funny. It's the same thing, but it's not.
Right.
Stepping out is different than walking out. Walking out is pretty,
Yeah, I know what
done.
that is.
Whereas stepping out is, well, I'm coming back. You just don't know what I'm doing. Unless I have a deep voice, because then you'll know. Here we go.
All right. We are now in Paranormal Corner.
As I raised my head up from the ground to look around, I saw my deceased dog from my childhood bounding towards me. It was overwhelmingly wonderful. I felt completely at peace and totally happy. I was so excited to see her again, and I didn't even question the experience at the time. It was as if she had never died, and she had always been waiting for me to wake up from my nap in the grass. These words were taken from case reports collected by the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. And they are from a young seaman who was recalling, I expected that, an experience that followed a life-threatening fall from a Navy pier. After losing consciousness, he found himself in an absolutely beautiful green field of grass with his beloved canine friend. After the reunion, he suddenly became aware that he was in the medical unit, and a corpsman was shouting at him.
Corpsman
Thank you.
takes it to a whole different level.
Maybe they wanted it to. Or maybe I'm just a bowman. Bonehead. Sorry, a bowman. Maybe I'm just a bowman. A corpsman was shouting at him to wake up. The seaman later described those moments with his dog as very brief but very real. There was not a single aspect of that experience which did not feel real. The sensation of being transported with a life-threatening situation to a place of peace, meeting with a deceased being embodying love and connection, then finding oneself suddenly sent back is consistent with what are called near-death experiences, or NDEs. So, subsequent research has revealed that NDEs are common when a person has a close brush with death during a psychologically traumatic event.
Wait. Let me clarify this.
Yep.
Near-death experiences are common when someone has a brush with death.
Yes.
This article is brilliant.
You're right.
Right.
Yes. But as opposed to being near death and not really experiencing anything because you're just lying there in a, half conscious or not conscious at all. So, I mean, we know what they really are trying to say.
I know what they meant. It just sounded funny to me. Near-death experiences are usually when someone is near death. You don't say!
During a psychologically traumatic event or when one nears the end of life, known to have occurred during cardiac arrest, traumatic injuries, surgery, accidents, suicide attempts. Makes me think of the guy that was there with me the whole time that I was in the room waiting to be worked on last year, that nobody knows who I'm talking about.
Oh, right.
The guy Q, and everybody's like, who? What?
Right, when you were in your near-death experience.
Yeah, nobody knows who that is. But he never left my side. Suicide attempts, childbirth, combat, life-threatening illnesses. NDEs are reported across many cultures and have been recorded throughout history. Research suggests around 20% of people who have a close call with death report one or more features of an NDE. These include a sense of leaving one's body, being transported to a distant place, sometimes through a tunnel, which is where the quote, tunnel of light imagery comes from, reuniting with deceased loved ones, meeting spiritual beings, or experiencing a panoramic life review. Although these experiences can be distressing, they are usually associated with positive effects such as an expanded understanding of spiritual matters, feelings of peace, joy, loss of fear of death, and a sense of interconnection with others. So despite decades of empirical research exploring everything from the origins, the prevalence, and the characteristics of NDEs to their impact and cross-cultural validity, no systemic research exists on the frequency with which loved ones who appear during NDEs have 4 legs and a tail. So, there are many tantalizing anecdotes and case reports of dogs coming to greet their human friends. For example, I worked with a patient named Alma who, this is not me, this is in the
article.
The article.
Right.
I worked with a patient named Alma who, as she approached death, expressed a deep sense of peace. When I asked her where this peace came from, she told me a story about having survived a fire many years earlier, during which she had lost consciousness and been burned severely. I remember leaving my body. I could see myself on the ground below and the ambulance guys working on me. It was all very strange. And then I felt myself moving away. I saw a beautiful light and I heard this amazing music that brought me such joy and peace. Eventually, I found myself in a big yard where I'd grown up. I saw Sadie, my best childhood friend, a cute little schnauzer. She was running toward me, wagging her tail. I had missed her so much when she died, yet there she was coming to greet me. After an emotional reunion, Alma's mother joined them and encouraged her to, quote, go back. Alma didn't want to return. I felt so happy, so loved. I wanted to be there forever. As her mother spoke words of encouragement, Sadie licked Alma's face. She was licking me like crazy, and I was laughing with joy. And then suddenly I woke up in the burn unit with the worst pain I'd ever felt.
Oh, wow.
Over the following months, as she endured many agonizing treatments, including several large skin grafts, Alma clung to those moments with her mother and Sadie. I was never afraid of death again. I know I'm going to be okay, and I know that Sadie and Mom are waiting for me. So many people have heard of NDEs, but are surprised to learn that these experiences are part of a larger continuum of non-ordinary experiences common at the end of life. And I just want to interject that when and I'm sure that some of you can probably relate with something
This is
similar.
Janice. This is not the article.
Right.
This is you. Okay. Just want to make sure everyone understands that.
When my stepfather was in the hospital towards end of life, he had several... he was seeing things that we were not seeing. And Joe was not... he didn't have dementia. But he was having some things happening right there in a room and telling us about people that he was seeing that were like, that were part of his life that had already passed.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. And I truly believe that who he was seeing, who was there with him, visiting him, I believe they were really there. And things like that have happened with other people in my family as well. Family members coming to get someone when they're sick, telling them it's their time.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, now because you did have some medical issues and almost died last year. Mm-hmm. When that happened, and I think we discussed that strange doctor that no one knew on the
Cute.
show.
Yeah.
So one of our episodes from last year, or last season. Did you ever see any of your pets? Because that's what this is about, pets. Did any of your kitty cats, were they licking at you or anything?
No.
Or meowing
Not
and saying,
while I
where's
was
the
ill.
food,
No.
biatch?
No, but I did come home here to this house one day, and when my now ex-husband and I moved here, there was one of the cats that we owned at the time. We had to have her put down probably within the first year that we were here. She was pretty old. Anyway, I came home one day and she was sitting up in the window on the second floor, and it was her. I was like, this can't be, because she's gone.
Right, for years.
But that was her in the window. No doubt about it.
Interesting.
But
Just like a cat, she couldn't visit you in the hospital. She's waiting for you to come home and feed her.
Yeah. And another thing that I had happen. So before we moved here, I had a cat, my girl Wiley. She got very ill, and I took her to the vet, and they said, bring her back home. We'll let you know when we get the test back. They had contacted me and told me that she had kidney failure, and that there was really nothing that they could do. They said, you can bring her in, we can put her to sleep, or you can make her comfortable and just make her comfortable as possible and let nature take its course.
Right.
Well, she really, really wanted to go outside, and I didn't want to do that. I'm like, no, we just need to leave her here. And my husband at the time said, no, she really wants to go out. Why don't we just let her out for a little while? Well, she never came back. So she went somewhere and, found a place to curl up and die.
Went to the elephant graveyard.
Yes. Well, probably, so she had a favorite spot in the front yard. Whenever you were looking for Wiley, this was the spot where you could find her curling up in some bird of paradise, actually, because it was shade there.
I know that place.
Yeah. Yes.
I do. I know
yeah, I know
that,
you do.
I know that plant in that yard on that house.
Well, so I go out, and there, next to the bird of paradise, was an iris, one lone iris that blossomed, and it was in Wiley's spot. And as I saw it, and I got the chills, and I teared up, because it's like, where did this come from? Well, why is it there with all the bird of paradise?
Right.
And I felt like it was perhaps Wiley's way of telling me, I'm okay, Mom.
Wow.
Everything's fine. And so I call that the iris for Wiley. And so I do believe that our pets I believe pets have a way of letting you know, yeah, we're still around too. So, they're...
I have not had, thank goodness, and if I was superstitious, I'd find some wood to knock on, but I'm not. I've not had a near-death experience, so I can't say anything about the wonderful pets that I grew up with that I would hope that I'll see if there's an afterlife or something like that. That I hope that I see, doggies.
Well, so here in this article, it says that most people say that when that there's something different. Yes, sometimes it could be a dream, but it's so vivid and you're touching them and it's so real because they're right there. It's like I just touched them and I did. So I had another pet where I had that. I dreamt about, I'm going to tear up, not going to tear up, I'm not going to tear up. My boy Cato, another one that got very sick and we had to put him down, and I was at work and my husband...
Man, what are you feeding your cats?
My husband took him to the vet to find out what he was so sick from, and he contacted me. He said, we're going to have to put him down because the doctor says he's not going to get better.
Right.
And I'm like, I just can't be there. And I beat myself up for not being there. I was working, but I could have said, could you let me take the time off so I could go and be, right. And I didn't. And I felt like a horrible cat mother. Anyway, I had a dream about my Cato, and it was so real, and he was there with me, and I was touching him and petting him, and I'm telling you, I knew from this dream that he was like, I understand. And so, see, I'm fine. Stop. It was like he was saying, it's okay. I know you love me, Mom. Don't look at me when I'm crying.
I'm trying to show sincerity that I'm listening to you.
He was such a sweet boy. So, I do believe that our pets and our people visit us from the other side for different reasons. And I would love to know whether or not any of you have had something similar happen. Have you been visited by your pet or some pet? Have you just had some phantom animal? It's like, where did that come from? Because I do have that here in this house, and not just my kitty, Winifred. So I'd love to know. So you guys can get in touch with us. Like we've said, at Snack a Little for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, at Snack a Little.
Or you can call our Google Voice... Hold it. Let me try that once again. Google Voice line.
That's Sticky Rice.
At
909-572-0278. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. What have you experienced? What do you wish you would experience? Is there some animal that you wish would come back?
Right, that you hope's going to be there when
Say
it's
hello.
your time to go. That you hope your animals are all back and
come running towards you through a green field and licking your face.
That sounds great, actually.
It does sound great.
Also, let us know if you think the tone of someone's voice is going to tell you if they're going to cheat or not.
Yeah, do you hear a voice and make automatic judgments about them? Let us know.
Yeah, please do.
Come on back.
All right.